Greetings! It is an exciting day today as we venture into a brand new update, and indeed, we have a new hero. We have some tower changes, some buffs, some nerfs. I haven't looked too much into it, but as far as I know, the Desperado was buffed, the Permaspike was changed quite drastically, and the Absolute Zero was a nerf, to mention a few. But what we're going to be doing today is to deal with the new map here. So it's going to be the Lost Crevasse. So this one is actually kind of a tough map, quite a bit harder than I initially thought, and definitely one of the more challenging intermediate maps. I would even say that it is harder than a lot of the advanced maps too. At least a map like a cornfield off the coast. Some of those maps are not too difficult. So yeah, let's just jump into it. We're going to be using Silas, the new hero, for this map, for the strategy, which did take me quite a long time to get right. It was a lot of trial and error involved when I was using Prince of Darkness and Archmage and some ninjas, and then I used Spirit of the Forest, but nothing really seemed to do the trick. But I'm happy to say that I do sort of have it down at this point. First of all, how does this map work? Well, the map is kind of tricky. It has two lanes, so it goes down on the left here, and then it goes down here. That is the shortest path it can take. Then on the right, it could do the same thing, go down on the right, but a lot of the times the Bloons will also swing over here and go a little bit further, and then go down to the left. And this is actually quite threatening, because it means that you could get Bloons from the left as well as Bloons from here, meaning that it's easy for you to get overwhelmed. Let's say around in the 90s or maybe like round 63, whatever. I ended up dying on a lot of different rounds for that reason. There's also this wall here, so if you place down a ninja, it cannot see over. So if I want to place down a sniper, I will not be able to see the right side, as you can see right here. I think that's about it. I'm going to be going a bit slowly in the beginning, because I think the hardest part about this map is definitely the early rounds. And yeah, let's just see how it goes. So we're going to start with the Desperado here, so we place it here, and then we can place the other here. You kind of just want to have like the curve, like roughly like this, so you have it like curve around. As you can see, it controls like the little curve there, the little bend, if you want to call it that. And let's just begin. So yeah, kind of a tough map. It took me a long time, a very long time actually. I spent like hours on this because I just kept dying. It's a lot of trial and error, but I got it, so this should hopefully be fine. The Desperado Monkey is quite an interesting tower. It is ridiculously bad against the grouped Bloons, but against single targets it's fairly decent. So both of these guys can solo round 6, 7, and 8. I know it looks kind of close, but it is going to be able to solo round 8 as well without issues. As you can see, not too much of an issue there for round 6, 7, and 8. Next up is going to be the druid. So we have it there. We put it on strong for this round. I would recommend that you don't have auto start on in the beginning. You could have it on eventually, but not in the beginning. Yeah, for round 10, you change the targeting to close. I don't think strong is important for round 9, but I still have it just in case. But for round 10, it's actually a little bit important, because if you are very unlucky, the druid is not going to hit enough blue Bloons, meaning that you may have to place down a dart monkey or something to avoid leaking at the end there. As you can see, the Desperado was barely able to pop everything, but it does pop everything. But if you have it on strong, a lot of the times that I was playing quite randomly, it seemed, then I was just leaking. So it's just incredibly annoying. But I figured out that putting it on close is just safer, and it kind of consistently beats round 10 there. As you can see, wasn't too much of a problem. So round 12, not too difficult, allowing us to save up for Silas, which we will place like right here. There we go. And from here, we're just gonna go for the mid path. We're gonna go for the Druid of the Jungle, which is gonna help us catch some Bloons, some Leakers. And one thing you gotta know about this strategy is that the biggest threat that we have, since we're using Silas, we will be using Ice Monkeys, naturally, and the new hero. And the biggest threat that we have are round 21, 22, and 23. Those rounds are quite dangerous. Round 37 too, with camo whites, also kind of a big threat. And the reason for that is because the Ice Monkey obviously can't pop white Bloons. So that is kind of the biggest challenge that we're facing early on. So that's why we want to get the Druid, so we can deal with that. Round 22 especially was a big pain in the ass for me. I died there a lot when I was attempting this earlier, just so I could get it right. But as you can see, these early rounds are not too difficult. Now that we have Silas, everything is more or less under control. But if you are very unlucky, I still think you could leak on round 18. So I have to be a little bit careful. But I think I'm good. Yeah, okay, I'm good. Great. Round 19 too. But we are almost there now with the Druid of the Jungle. Almost there. Not there yet, but almost. Oh, there we go, okay. And now first, that's round 19. And next up's gonna be the Hard Thorns, just to get that. There we go. And that should be round 21. Perfect. And for round 22, you want to use the ability. So let's just use the ability so Silas can pop the whites. And now we can place down our very first ice tower. So that's kind of the hardest part done, but there's some stuff to watch out for still. I'm not gonna put on auto start until I reached round 40, because that's when things become a little bit more automatic. But okay, we got that. Let's get the other Ice Monkey. Let's see, there we go. So what Silas does essentially is to buff these Ice Monkeys in various ways, as you can probably guess. Also, they get this extra shard attack, as you can see here. So if I have round 26 there, you can see these shards around the Dart Monkeys there. That's what Silas does, essentially. Alright, so I am going to get Cold Snap on both of these guys before I do anything else. You need that for round 33, which can actually kill you if you greed it out too much, so I'm gonna get that before we do anything else. So that's round 27, 28, and 30 should be easy, especially for the Cold Snap. Round 29, and round 30. And I believe for round 31, a little bit later on round 31, we do want to use the ability. Let's say, like right now. Okay, it wasn't necessary. Alright, that's good. Want to make sure we get every Ice Monkey, so around here is good. We get both. There we go. The reason I place it here is just that I want an Ice Monkey here. It's gonna be the Arctic Wind. Right, so now the biggest threat is gonna be round 37. That's kind of the last thing that's a little bit dangerous, and round 40. But round 40 is not too dangerous, but you just gotta be a little bit. You just gotta pay attention that it's round 40, if that makes any sense. That's round 33. 34 is fairly easy, same as with 35. So we got this discount village, so I'm just gonna start. I think I'm gonna get the ice shards first. There we go. So it's very nice to have those ice shards. And I'll also get the large radius, because why not? Large radius, refreeze. And round 36 can actually be a little bit dangerous, believe it or not. It has killed me before. It's insane that it has, but it has. If you're very unlucky, it could. But I think we have sufficient popping power with the ice shards that it's not an issue. But as you can see, they got a little bit aggressive there. Okay, so now the most important thing is to use Silas's ability for the end of the round, because of camo whites are kind of a big problem. Our only weakness, you could say. So at the end of this round, just use the ability there. Just gotta wait. I don't exactly remember, but there's usually a little bit of a break, and then the balloons, they come out. Like right now. Frostbite. There we go, yeah. So very easy, it seems like, but they can actually get through. And if they do get through, you may have to use Eagle Eye on one of the Desperados to make sure that you can pop the camo. So if that happens to you, you could use it. The money is not particularly tight at this point any longer, so you could do that. Especially because we did make a discount village, so you can afford it. It's just 160 bucks. But just letting you know in case that happens. It did happen to me once, so you never know, right? So, alright, so let's get the cryo cannon there. Yeah, I would like to get the embrittlement, so I'm gonna be getting that before round 40, although it's not technically necessary because we get the round 7 ability there. But yeah, that's gonna be the last threat, so let's just get the embrittlement just in case. I always get scared when the balloon seems to be getting far. Okay, I think we were fine there, but that scared me a little bit. I forget that the druid of the jungle will actually catch most of these. That's why I place it on first. But yeah, all right. So the round 7 ability, what it does is to create like an explosion. The ice monkeys create like an explosion. So we have. I'll be adding another ice monkey for the sake of adding a little bit more power. So I'm adding this one there, and I'm also adding this one here. Those are going to be our four ice monkeys. So the level 7 ability adds this little explosion here for the ice monkeys. So we're going to be doing that for the MOAB. So let's just do that. And as you can see, it wasn't exactly a big problem. It just went down like instantly. And that's kind of it. For a long time, it's going to be very easy. So now it's just smooth sailing. But naturally, we need to be upgrading our stuff, though. So we're going to go for the icicles. And we have embrittlement, which is great against MOABs. So now it's going to be time for us to get our second icicles. Gonna get the top path for lead. So we can do the DDT. So we have 2 icicles, which means that balloons are not going to be much of an issue. And for the mid path, I think we're going to be going for the... I would rather go for the top path, honestly, so we will be doing that, and the Arctic Wind, of course, for the tier 5. So yeah. I'll get the Snowstorm, and from there, it's gonna be pretty simple for a long time. A very long time, actually. But not for the end, not until the end we gotta pay a little bit of attention, but I would say the worst is over, where we actually need to be a little bit careful the early rounds, as I said. So it's not like pressing auto start and stuff in the early rounds. I don't recommend that at all. Just because there's a lot of bullshit that can kill you out of nowhere if you're unlucky. Like the Druid of the Jungle, for instance, it's a little bit RNG based in a way. Because it needs to catch the balloon in time, and sometimes it just doesn't react in time or whatever. Kind of annoying, but... Okay, I do want to watch out for the MOAB here, but I think we should be good. That's a little bit unnecessary of me. Then I guess it's time to get this. I probably should have gotten that a bit earlier. Not gonna lie, I totally forgot about getting that. Probably would have been better to get that before we got the I got this, but it doesn't really matter. Would have saved a little bit of money, but it is what it is. I definitely should have upgraded the village earlier. For some reason, I just totally forgot about that. But anyway, as you can see, like the 50s, 40s, not exactly a big problem, and we're just getting stronger and stronger, and the ice monkeys themselves too are also just getting better, better and better. But for now, though, we are going to be waiting for Silas's level 13. And why is that? Well, the thing with Silas is that, I guess I could show that. If I click here, for level 13, Ice Monkey tier 5s are cheaper, and you can build a 4th tier 5. And do not underestimate the cheaper factor. It is way cheaper, not just a little bit. It is way cheaper. So we're gonna wait for that. So while we wait for it, we're gonna get something that's good against MOABs, so we are not gonna struggle. And that's a MOAB Eliminator. It's gonna be our kind of our main popping power for quite some time. So that's 30k. So it takes a bit of time to save up for that. While it's gonna allow us to instantly pop BFBs and such, so MOABs will not be much of an issue. So that's the idea behind getting that. It just does a lot of MOAB damage. So the MOAB Eliminator is gonna be useful, and it allows us to do like it gives us a certain amount of time for Silas to level up. He levels up quite slowly. I think he's kind of in Churchill territory, honestly, so that's pretty slow. But we luckily do have the time. Also, with 2 icicles, 63 is going to be very easy. It's not going to be a problem whatsoever, as you can see here. Just, you can't notice the balloons. That's how easy it is. Usually a big pain, but the icicles makes it for a pretty easy time. You can use the ability as much as you want. You should use it as often as you can, because that's kind of the whole, or one of the major points behind the tower. So I'll use it on the BFB coming up, or the fortified BFB, I guess. Yeah, so now it's level 10. This is the level 10 ability. This one does a lot more damage to stuff that is frozen. So that's worth keeping in mind. Oh, for some reason I was mixing things with level, with round 75. 75 is the one that has the fortified BFB. 65 just has 2 BFBs. But yeah, this level 10 ability freezes, or it does a lot more damage to stuff that's frozen. So what you want to do is that you want to freeze stuff first, like this, and then you want to use that ability, because it just does way more damage that way. So you don't want to use the ability first, you want to freeze everything first. That's kind of a part of the strategy, but I don't think it's necessary though. I haven't had any scares at this point. And if Bloons start getting further, we do have the Snowstorm too, as well as these 2 abilities. But I'll try to use as little abilities as I can, but eventually you kind of have to start using them. Otherwise you're just handicapping yourself, you know. But the MOAB Elim is just extremely nice because it does a lot of bad damage. That is another reason why I've chosen it, because, in case you didn't know, the Ice Tower's by far its biggest weakness are bats. Like, they have absolutely no damage against bats. It's kind of crazy. Like, 2 Icicle Impales, they don't do anything against a bat. So, that's pretty bad. But it really is. It's just terrible. But they're very good against DDTs, and it slows everything down. But no bad damage whatsoever, because the bat itself is not affected by the that effect. It's not affected by any effect. It doesn't get glued. It doesn't get frozen. It doesn't get anything. So that's kind of a big part of that. And one of the reasons why we get the Elim email. But yeah, let's see how Silas is doing. It's level 12, so we're getting there. So we're saving up enough money. And I think the first thing we'll be getting is the brittle. Kind of want to get that first. It's very nice to get because it does increase damage, and it has a sort of lengthy effect on the balloons. So we get the brittle first, which I think is going to be 22,000, and that's 8,000 cheaper. So that is crazy. That is just such a huge amount. So you can see that things do get a little bit further sometimes, but it really isn't anything to worry about. I know it looks scary though, and I do want to make sure I don't lose. I really don't want to lose. It kind of sucks when you do, but it should be relatively safe. Let's see how the rest of the 78 goes. Yeah, you're not even noticing the ceramics here. Easy. Okay, perfect. So now, around 79, and let's have a look at Silas. He's still not level 13 yet. So let's just use Moab Elim if we need it. We don't really need it. We don't need to use anything, but perfect. 79 here. That was a little bit laggy. I guess it's because all of the ice effects and such. Okay, so here's level 80. Let's use the ability. And there we go. And Silas should level up right now. Yeah, so Super Brittle is now 22k. Let's get that. So after the Super Brittle, we're going to be getting the first Impale, then we get the second Impale, and then we get the Absolute Zero, which is now only at 12k, 13k, I guess, but yeah, crazy. This upgrade here is just really nice. And it is fairly well balanced too, because Ice Monkeys are not like extremely OP if you have a lot of them as tier 5s, so it's not like a crazy OP to have another Brittle or something. So I really like the way they balance the hero. I think it's very well designed, to be honest. Here we can use another Elim ability, and here's the Impale. Always nice to get that. And next up is going to be the other Impale here. 24k, of course. Maybe I should get the Absolute Zero first. I guess that makes a bit more sense, because we already have an Impale, so yeah, let's get the Absolute Zero first, just in case, so we can free stuff in case we need to do so. I'm just using some random abilities here for fun. It shouldn't really make too big of a difference, but yeah. I did say you gotta pay a little bit of attention though, and that is true. I did find a way to die on round 91 at some point. I don't remember how that happened, but it did happen at some point. So let's just pay attention to what's happening on this round. Use the ability. I don't think I'm anywhere close to dying here though, so I don't know how that happened. But yeah, I'm not even close to dying. Maybe I had a different setup or something, different tier 5, who knows, but let's get the Absolute Zero. You can use this, you can freeze some stuff, use some explosions if you want. So DDTs for round 93 should not be an issue at all. Easy. Freeze some stuff, use the ability if you want. Cooldown is fairly quick too, so you could almost like freeze stuff constantly. And with the Moab Elim on top of everything, we were just destroying every single round. It's crazy. So here's 95, always exciting, but again, we could use the Absolute Zero if we need to do it. And it's not going to be necessary though because of the Impale, but just letting you know that you could do that. And yeah, that was 95. Barely noticed that it was around. Here's the Impale. So now we have pretty much our entire setup for the last rounds. I am gonna be adding a village for the Elim just in case, but it's not really necessary to add it. I don't think it is necessary, but I'm adding it anyway, because why not? Alright, so here's round 98. Let's just freeze. Use this. I think this should be good. Ooh. The Absolute Zero coming in clutch there. And the druid ability. It seemed it was kind of close. It really wasn't. But a little bit. Always at round 98, man. You never know what happens. But for round 100, you just use the Moab Elim as much as you can. And the thing is going to pop shortly because it does so much damage. Then you can freeze. Use the other ability. Use Moab Elim again. Freeze stuff again. Use Moab Elim again. And there we go. That was it. So, yeah. What can I say? Let's take a look at the pops. As I said, a Super Brittle is probably our strongest tower. Just does a lot of damage. And as well, the Moab Elim doing a whole bunch of cleanup there. So, good stuff. Silas is not He's more of a buffer than a damager. He doesn't damage the balloons too much, but yeah. That's it. So hope you guys enjoyed it. I think this map is... I really like the way it looks. But I definitely think it's more of an advanced map. This is a lot harder than it seems. And it took me a bit of time to craft this strategy here, but here we go. So it was nice to make use of the hero and the different ice kind of balloons, but kind of towers. But yeah, the first round's definitely the most challenging. Once you start getting your ice army up, it gets a lot easier. And of course, you could consider getting the primary mentoring earlier than I did, but as you can see, it didn't make any difference at all, and we have quite a bit of money to spare there too. So hope you enjoyed, and thanks for watching, and I'll hopefully see you in the next one, which I believe it's going to be encrypted, which is a video I recorded a while ago, but I'll upload it tomorrow, I guess. But the update is finally out, so you can expect more soon as we continue our series of every map on Chimps. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.